Hello and welcome to a new video. In today's video we're gonna take a look not at the Shadow variant of Diggersby, at least not yet. I'm still planning on building the Shadow Diggersby as well, but today we're gonna take a look at the return variant of it. This Pokemon is definitely very interesting with the return, and you're gonna see today in this video as well if it's worth it or not. We're going to have some very interesting battles here today coming up as well, so if you're excited for this video, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a like on the video. It is free and it helps me out a ton. Anyway, we're going to have a team here. I think it's a team from me, Weedle, who played this team before, and I think it's rank 1 in the world actually with it. Quite a bit ago though, so like it's not a recent team I think. But it still should be a team that is also really good in the current meta, and also I really wanted to try out something different than Malamar, Toxapex, Diggersby for friendly battles. I don't mind playing like a try-hard team, like fully try-hard. Of course, this is also a very strong team, don't get me wrong. I don't really mind using a fully tryhard team in the actual Go Battle League, but here of course we're going to have test battles for the Open Great League, because you cannot use Diggersby in the current meta, and I also kind of want to maybe do some more test battles for the Great League for the new Pokemon. Main reason for this is I just don't really like the current cup, and I feel like a lot of people are kind of on the same boat at this point anymore. I don't think it's a bad cup, generally speaking, by the way, the Color Cup. I think there's a lot of potential for it. I think it's just like 1 week is enough. Like that's, I feel like, the main reason for it. And now, of course, we're gonna go into the second week of Color Cup, so I want to maybe give a little bit of different gameplay there as well. Maybe some Master League coming up as well on this channel here. We have to see. But anyway, we're going to see here also a Trailblaze coming through against the opponent's Poliwrath, and here we see that we're going to be able to win this battle with the Ariados, but also return would have been really cool for the Diggersby there if it landed against the Charger Bug. Next opponent, we're going to have Gastron in the lead. That's going to be very solid for us because we're going to have access to the Trailblaze, and they of course know that as well. Seeing the Goodra coming in there as well is going to be okay. We can go for basically 2 lunges, get the debuffs onto the opponent, and maybe even get a shield here, which would be cool. What I have to say as well, I don't feel like I played every battle perfectly, which is fine. Sometimes down to a bit of clunkiness in the games, sometimes down to just mess up, which is totally okay. But here, for example, we see how little a double debuffed Aquateer is going to do against our Diggersby, which is great to see. And we can talk a little bit about the return and what I have seen so far from this Pokemon with return. I have to say, I think it is a great move to have on this Pokemon, which you see here already why. Return, I think, does around, 50 more damage compared to the Scorching Sense, of course. I think it does 50 more damage, and that is quite a bit. And it is going to allow you to have basically a move that is Stab, that does a ton of damage, that doesn't take as much energy though, as for example a Hyper Beam, which it also would learn. And it just gives you a nuke potential instead of trying to whittle down the opponent over a long period of time, which is the usual way of playing Diggersby before, by using some like Fire Punch to try to realign the switch lock, stuff like this. Of course, you don't have the luxury here. You could use Fire Punch and the move of return, but I don't think it's going to be the smartest idea, even though I could see some play as well for it. Here we decided they're gonna lose. I think this battle was winnable, by the way, against the opponent there before, just didn't really play it perfectly. But we're gonna see some returns landing, and we're gonna see also why return is like so good, because like again, having that nuke, which doesn't take 10 years to get to, is so important on Diggersby and makes such a difference in so many different matchups. So what I can say after using it here for a few battles in like those friendly battles, I can definitely say I would really recommend you to build one. I can fully assure you that I think it is the best moveset to have return on this Pokemon. If you run Diggersby as a closer, I could see Fire Punch and Scorching Sand still being better as a lead because it gives you more coverage, but return helps so much out as a closer because there's so many matchups where the extra damage of return is just super important. Like literally, like there's so many Pokemon where a Scorching Stand just doesn't do it, and a return like literally perfectly puts them into range where you can either farm them down afterwards or just get a straight knockout. And so yeah, I can say after just testing it out a little bit, I do think it is the best moveset for this Pokemon to have return on it. I do think that the other moveset still has, again, potential depending on what scenario and what team you have around. But return on Diggersby seemed to be a very, very good move to have. And we see it in this battle as well. I still remember this battle here. We're going to have the opponent running the Dunsparce, which is fine. We're gonna be able to take the drill run from the opponent, and we can now go for the Scorching Sand. We are not at 100 energy. Scorching Sands should be enough from this range at least. But now we're gonna take a look at what the opponent going to have in the back. And oh wow, it's going to be the Feraligatr. And let's see on how much damage a return is going to do here. Nearly all of it, and so we can go for the full farm down. And honestly, 130 damage is ridiculous for a return on this Pokemon, and it just makes such a difference. And when I did my first video towards the Shadow event, which I'm gonna do another video towards the Shadow event, hopefully tomorrow, when we know all of the lineups, I'm like basically didn't even consider that return Diggersby was a thing, and then I saw like people basically pointing that out. It is quite easier, at least I guess, to get a Diggersby that's solid with return. I'm actually quite happy with the IV spread that I have here. On the right side you see 4, 10 and 9 or something like this. That's actually a very solid IV spread, going to allow you to win CMP tie against other Diggersby, which is going to be kind of cool, but also going to, just generally speaking, only lose matchups that are not as important, which is going to be also an okay, like, yeah, I think I have 2 bulk points that you're missing, and those against Pokemon that you really see. I think one is like Guzzlord or something like this, which can be a bit impactful. But yeah, generally speaking, I'm actually really happy with the IV spread that I got here as well. Anyway, we're going to see here that the opponent is going to be able to go back into the Gastrodon. Very sadly though, is that they decided to go for the Water Pulse here. That's going to be a super effective hit instead of just a neutral hit from like some Neck and Earth Power. But again, we can go for the return, and Scorching Sands would have not even come close to knocking out the opponent there, but this was able to get the KO. We still have a lunge stored on our Ariados, but I'm well aware that Morpeko is going to be able to just barely survive this hit. So it comes down to now, if our Feraligatr is going to be able to farm them down with the Shadow Claw, we cannot buy like a 1 fast move, which is really unfortunate. But yeah, what we're gonna see as well is that we're going to be able to at least get still a draw here, and we can move on to the next opponent. Guzzlord in the lead. This Pokemon, again, is going to be a bit of a trickier one. I guess it's still okay, though. We're going to have Lunch here. If you go straight for Lunch, the next Dragon Tail damage coming in is already debuffed, which is kind of nice. So that's why he usually goes just straight for it, even though, of course, you're going to lose 2 turns. At least the Dragon Tail damage is going to be debuffed immediately, and you get guaranteed basically a hit against the opponent, as they decide to swap out into the Golisopod here. Lunch gonna drop the opponent's attack, which is gonna be great, and we can swap out into our Diggersby, which maybe seems to be a bit of a weird play. And maybe is a bit of a weird play. Maybe I should have went ahead and went into my Feraligatr instead. But we decided to use a shield against the first liquidation, even though they're debuffed. I know it's not going to do too much damage, that's most likely around like 40% or something. But 40% is more damage than anything that the Guzzlord is gonna do. That was my thought process behind it. So I rather shield up a super effective hit, where I know it's super effective, instead of just, yeah, having then low health, but a shield left against something like Guzzlord now. But as you're gonna see, we're gonna be able to go for another return against the opponent. But they sadly decide to use a shield here, which is actually quite unfortunate. Again, by the way, if you take a look at the range of Guzzlord, this is return range. This is not even close to being the Scorching Sand range. So, like, it is quite important to have return on Diggersby in a lot of cases. Here, for example, we're gonna be able to hit that return. Oh no, it's going to be against the Toxapex. They did a great swap there with a Guzzlord. I did not really see that one coming at all. Of course, Scorching Sands would have been better there against the opponent's Toxapex, but at least we're still going to be able to get them kind of low, and we are also going to see here that we're quite lucky because the opponent goes for the Sludge Wave straight away. If they went for Brine, they actually would have been able to win this matchup, which we're going to see here now as well, because we're not going to be able to go for the full farm down, but they can only go for a Brine, which is not going to knock us out. We can go for an Ice Beam, win this battle, and we can move on to the next opponent now. Let's see what they're going to run. We're going to have here the Azumarill in the lead. That's going to be very good for us, and they swap onto the Pawniard. Yeah, like, that's the thing as well. I know this player, and I know that they are playing against me basically every single time when I ask for battles, so shouts to you, I really appreciate it, I want to say, so I definitely really appreciate it. But also, they're running a lot of times very interesting Pokemon, and I have to say, I just didn't really have an answer to the Pawniard. But I also have to say that I think it was the wrong decision to go into the Diggersby here. We don't have Fire Punch, and so we have to go for a Scorching Sands. I was hoping that Quick Attack damage would be enough. It is not. And so it would have been better for me to go into the Feraligatr, because they're forced to go for Night Slash. They're debuffed, and basically, like, you would have been able to knock them out with one Hydro Cannon anyway. So I feel like this was a mistake for me to decide to go into my Diggersby. I just kind of got my Diggersby a little bit too low, and now they can go for the full farm down. Not before I can go for Scorching Sands at least, so this is going to do some solid damage still. Mostly going to put them close to the red health there, and we can go back into our Ariados, but as we will see, we have to use a shield here, of course. Ice Beam would knock us close, at least. They wouldn't knock us out straight away. And they go to reveal that they're going to have a Sandshrew in the back, and we can go ahead and go for another lunge. I guess here at least we're going to be able to resist the fast move, so maybe it was better for us. But we are still one shield down, and we have to hope that the opponent doesn't get a boost or anything like this. So Night Siege spam is coming through here now. We have to let the moves go through, and we have to try our best to do as many Hydro Cannons as possible against the opponent here. Next up, we're going to see again an Hydro Cannon coming through. This is going to allow us to get the shield. Of course, they're going to use the shield against everything because I know Sandshrew is the most important asset. And they're able to catch the move onto the Azumarill. I undercharge here, which was a great undercharge, but at the end of the day, it actually did not really help me here. As, I don't know, maybe I should have went into my Ariados trying to debuff the opponent here, but it doesn't really matter. We're gonna go ahead and go for another charge move here, which is going to allow us to get them kind of low. But we have to kind of catch a move now. Let's see if this is gonna work out. It does not, and that is going to be basically a good game. I had to catch the move there. But not only this, they're also gonna get the boost here, so unfortunate, very spicy team from the opponent. Of course, this team wasn't really designed for this one. But we see as well the Night Siege going to knock us out. Good game there, and we can move on to the next opponent. We're going to have a Clodsire here in the lead. We're going to swap out straight away because our lead definitely doesn't enjoy Clodsire. And we can go for the Hydro Cannon. This is going to do some solid damage. And as I decide to go straight for a charge move afterwards, I know it's going to be a Sludge Bomb only. And so I can easily take a hit here at least. And the opponent's going to be enraged now for Quick Attack down even. And Primate is coming back in. This is going to be okay because we're gonna be able to go for another Hydro Cannon. It's gonna get the shield from the opponent, and we try our best to go back into the Ariados here to get at least another knockout against the opponent, hopefully getting rid of this Primate, because you don't want to have Primate, of course, against your normal type Pokemon in the back, which takes super effective damage from them. Rage Twist spam is coming in here. I'm not too worried too much about the boost here because their fast move is double resisted and it's not really doing that much damage anyway. And so we're going to be in a very solid spot. We can knock them out as well. And let's see what is coming in next. It's going to be the Clodsire again. We swap out straight away. And it's time for Diggersby here against the Feraligatr. Are we going to go for the return? We're not. Like, there's no real reason to go for the return here because Scorching Sand is going to allow us to get still enough damage in for us to farm them down with 2 shields. But as you will see as well, we're going to get the attack drop onto the opponent, which is even better. And so we're going to have no CMP die against the opponent. We can use a shield again. But yeah, this is going to be better for us to just go ahead and do it like this. No reason for return here in this battle. But we can go for the full farm down perfectly there as well, and the opponent decides to forfeit. Final battle here for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you did, really would appreciate if you could leave a like. I'm going to try to showcase even more Shadow Pokemon on this channel throughout the next few days as well here, so definitely stay tuned for that. I'm very happy that okay, here in this case we only showcase Shadow Feraligatr. We of course showcase the return variant of Diggersby. But yeah, I'm going to try to get a good Diggersby for the Shadow variant as well. That's the thing as well, it's just more difficult to get the IV spread forward. But that's definitely my goal as well, and I'm gonna try to get some more of the other new Shadow Pokemon as well, including as well the new Pokemon from Generation 9 as well. I forgot the name. I always want to say Farigiraf, but that's not the case. That's like the evolution of Girafarig, but I forgot Girafarai or something like this. I don't know. It is very interesting. Definitely the Pokemon that's still coming up there as well. Avex is, I think, to like Mudslap and Poison Fang going to be an interesting Pokemon, so definitely stay tuned. I just have to hatch it. I didn't get it yet. But yeah, a lot of content coming up on this channel. Would really appreciate it if you could leave a like and subscribe if you haven't done that yet. But as we will see here against this opponent, they're going to be able to get rid of our Diggersby, but we're going to still get at least a bit of energy against them here with our own Ariados. We have to take a hit here though. The Hydro Cannon is going to get us quite low. And they still have their Sandslash here. Luckily, they go straight for the charge move, which is really good for us because we don't really have anything to pressure them with our Ariados, but we have something to pressure them with our Feraligatr. And so we can go for the Hydro Cannon here, we can go for another Hydro Cannon straight away afterwards. The opponent is going to take some massive damage from that, but not enough to knock them out. But luckily, we're going to be able to outspeed them here, and this actually worked out quite well because the opponent went straight for the charge move. They needed one more energy to go for the Diggersby, I want to say, for the Drill Run, needed the same. And so we're going to be able to win this battle battle now. They have nothing that they can do here with the Azumarill or the Fur Alligator. And that's going to be it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Diggersby with return is worth it. For sure, I think it's great. A lot of matchups where it's a really, really nice board. And so this is going to be it. See you then. Bye-bye.